Hello, guys, and welcome to a very special edition of the Esports Social Club. I'm James Jimneso Cowan. Joining me on the couch is none other than Sean Baal Carlson, Iain Snyper Turner, and Geordie McAleer. I am still laughing at that intro, boys. It's actually ridiculous. But
quality.
We're here to give you guys a preview of the CSGO Major Challenger stage that is coming up. It is the Starladder Major being hosted in Berlin. There is going to be some absolutely cracking matches to kick things off. Just give me your general thoughts on the major coming up, Sean. It's a huge occasion.
Oh, look, it's very exciting. We always get excited when the majors come around. We do get a bit hyped, and it's good to see a lot of new teams actually sort of in the mix, and I'm excited to see how the results turn out.
You've got the Twitch chat open.
He's enjoying it.
Is that why you...
With great power comes great responsibility.
Okay.
And look, this is probably going to be the worst major ever.
Okay. I want you to hold on to that thought, put a pin in it. We're going to explore why do you think it is the worst major ever. Mac, general thoughts and feelings.
Well, we'll see how Greyhound go, and I guess that'll tell us how bad the major is.
Oh, what do you mean by that?
Oh, I don't know. Find out shortly.
Wow.
Stay tuned.
Oh, geez, okay.
Yeah.
Now, for those of you that are unfamiliar with the Challenger stage of the major, it is a new, recent addition to the major in the sense that when the majors first started, they've been adding different stages as they've gone through. Originally, it was a direct invite. In previous stages, there was only 16 teams coming into the major. Now there's 24. They've added an extra 8 slots, and they're going to be... This is effectively the majors play-in. That's right. They have a license to print money in terms of sticker money. Now, Iain, it's a great segue going from sticker money straight to Iain. I'll tell you that.
What do you mean? I haven't got any.
Now,
Drama.
I'm immune to that shit.
we've already derailed. This is exactly what I expected.
That didn't take too long, did it, Jim?
No.
No, that was quick.
This is
Haven't
what
even
happens.
had an alcoholic beverage this week.
Well, I mean,
Well, today.
He's just sipping out of crystal glasses here already.
Yep.
Now, of course, we're coming to you guys powered by Skrilla. These guys have been excellent in their support of ourselves and allowing us to bring more content like this show. So the exclamation mark Skrilla in the chat to
Absolutely.
find out a little bit more. And they've got a fantasy league running as well. So be sure to check that out. All available via that link in chat. So check it out. They've got heaps going. Of course, if you do like to bet on matches as well, they're offering odds on the Challenger stage, which we're about to review. So hopefully we can give some good guidance in that instance. But let's talk about the Challenger stage. How does it work? What does it mean? As I said, it was the play-in stage of the major. A lot of these teams are vying for that next stage to go through and even potentially hold on to a slot coming through the next few weeks. Now, there's quite a few teams in this particular instance all playing in a Swiss round robin, correct?
Yep, correct, Jim.
Correct.
That's the word on the street. I
think
That's the
so.
word on the
I
street.
hope so.
I was hoping
Sounds
for,
right, yeah.
for
It's
more
a
of
lot better
bounce
than
around
what
the-
it was back in the day when I used to go to majors, plural.
The
Plural,
two-time.
You would literally play two
Two-time.
maps and you'd be cooked against two of the best teams in the world. 'cause
Sounds
you
like a
have
day at land.
terrible seed. Yeah, I know. It's like you go through the ranks in Australia, you finally make it, and then you got to start again at the bottom.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so do you like the fact that there's sort of 24 teams now?
Absolutely. I think it's good. Yeah, because, I mean, at the end of the day, we were always starved of experience at the end of the day.
It offers more opportunity, right?
And it's such a long way for us.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, look, the kids are over there getting a good run, especially in, Europe and NA where they deserve the more slots.
Well, I was going to say, we'll talk on experience later because generally in this particular stage, because of the way and the nature, as we said, it's a Swiss round robin, these teams are playing best of ones against each other. We've seen a lot of upsets in previous stages because you only need to beat your opposition on that single map. So, I mean...
Yeah, like Renegades last time.
Yeah, exactly. But even Complexity in previous majors as well, making their run through just on Inferno, seemingly. So there's a lot to talk about in the sense that this can really throw some spanners in the works. And, I mean, we've got a lot to talk about in that sense, but do you have any, sentiments towards that best of one in terms of...
I think it's completely necessary.
Swiss?
It's necessary. If it's best of three, it'll be boring as shit. There'll never be an upset, At least with the BO1, it gives the underdog a chance, like Complexity. Someone just gets on their own map, whether it be Vertigo or whatever. that's their chance, you know. That you can put all your eggs in one basket that way, and it's up to the top dog. What is it you like to say, Jim? Because you hate the overdog. It's up to the top dog.
Please don't say overdog.
It's up to the top dog.
It's underdog and just favourite. Like that is the
Just
simplicity of it.
Where did overdog come from?
Yeah.
We're going to say
Overdog.
overdog for the rest
I've
of the
sat with
night,
Jim
okay?
through so many interviews where they've said overdog. So anyway,
I'm over it, dog.
It
I'll tell
is.
you that.
It's up to the top dog to understand the underdog's modus operandi.
Correct. Now, there are a few favourites, maybe even for the major, potentially to come from this challenge
You're saying,
stage.
well, when you say the major, you're talking about the whole thing?
The whole thing. Like
Right, okay.
We'll get into that.
Yeah,
There's more stages of
No
the show,
rush.
and we've got more shows to look at that.
So we need to save some content.
We need to save some content. That's the thing. We don't give that away, Mac. We don't tell anybody.
You don't want to burn through it.
All right. So this particular stage, basically, you win 3 matches, you go through to the next stage in the best of 1 format, or alternatively, if you lose 3 matches, you're out.
Yep.
Now, it only switches to a best of 3 if you're in danger of being knocked out.
Beautiful.
So that's the safety net for these teams.
It's
right?
great for the team. It's great for the TO scheduling. Everything's a BO1 until that last day or two, and I think it's a really nice format.
It is, and like usually it actually throws up a lot of pressure on that second round match. And the reason I say that is because these teams going into the first round, they've had weeks to prepare because the draw's been out. But come the second round, you only have a day sometimes to turn around and prepare for that next team. So
Especially
that's
if
where,
there's an upset.
that's where really things get thrown into disarray.
Or a favourite like Australis losing their first game of the day, like the first game of the tournament, puts them into the 0-1 category where all the plebs are meant to be. And then they're just seal clubbing the rest of the way out.
Well, at the end of the day as well, I mean, if you go 0-2, you essentially have 3 best of 3s to fight your way to 3-2, correct?
Yeah, the Cloud9 strategy.
Yep.
So if you're not, if you have had a couple of unlucky best of 1s, let's just put it like that, you still get that opportunity to fight your way through with best of 3s, which will favour some teams over others.
Correct. Now, we're looking at the Challengers group stage there. I mean, we're actually flying by the seat of our pants in the sense we haven't had a lot of time to prepare for this. We would have done beautiful graphics. We don't even have a producer.
Mhm.
Like, we're sitting here.
You're
the
the
PC's
producer.
over there. I'm the producer. That's right. I have the quickest feet in OCE.
I mean,
I have to run.
The quickest feet in OCE.
you
Seriously.
definitely didn't have the quickest hands.
under 15s. Under 15s.
That's going on his
I
blue
was
tombstone.
running
Quickest feet in
state
OCE.
track, mate. I was running 10s.
Don't
in
show
under
them on
15s.
Twitch.
You were running 10s?
Yeah.
Or what, hundos?
Under, yeah.
10 seconds.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah. I was killing it, mate.
Could you imagine? It'd be like Fred Flintstone.
Oh, okay.
How did we end up here?
No, this is how it goes. Anyway, let's talk. Let's have a quick overview of some of the teams in this Challenger stage. That's right. I can bring it right back. That's because I'm quick. As I said. Now, Team Vitality coming into this Challenger stage. We're going to talk about the strong contenders first. Who we think are the strong contenders of the Challengers stage. Now, I'm going to run through the teams. There's Vitality, Avanga, G2, Complexity, Hellraisers, Mouse Sports, NRG, Fours, Greyhound Gaming, Crazy, Furia, Simon Gaming, Simon Gaming, as some of them would say, Tyloo, North, Dream Eaters, and INTZ Esports. So
Just bringing it up for the
it's
boys.
huge.
Ints.
It's a lot to remember.
Now, some of these first round matchups are going to be, indicative of how these teams perform. Now,
Yeah.
strong contenders. Any particular teams out there you feel are going to be the ones to go through?
Furia. Was it my
All
turn to say that?
I mean,
Furia.
Sean, raise your hand in front of the class, please.
yeah, no, go ahead, mate.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, just thought I'd throw it out there, but Furia for sure.
Furia.
They'd have to be one of the top ones.
Actually, for me, I feel like they're a team that sit on that edge. I actually tend to agree with people in the sense that we've seen a lot of good things from them.
Yep.
But that is by no means a surefire thing that they're going to go through the second round.
Yep.
Like, they're not going to go through that next stage.
I think you'd have to have them as one of the strong ones, though.
Oh.
You'd have to.
Yeah, if I'm talking teams that like a surefire to go through,
To me, yeah, it's pretty obvious.
yeah, I don't think they're quite there. They're on the cusp of it.
To go through the challenger stage,
To go through the challenger
they're
stage,
definitely better than
it's best of
most
ones.
of the teams here. Or not
Well, it's
Until-
best of ones until the best of threes.
Until
Correct.
it isn't.
until
Yeah,
the best.
until-
That's
Look,
it.
yeah, obviously, you can't go past Vitality. Can't go past G2. I think
Fair to say.
NRG also, despite the change to their leadership, I think can't go past them either. I think they're a sure thing. North and Mouse, of course. Don't forget Mouse. Carrigan's squad of misfit kids.
North came through the playing tournament, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So they almost didn't make it. In the sense that, well, they have made it.
A
but
lot
they
of people
didn't.
almost didn't make it, but they're here.
well, yeah.
And I mean, that's a lot tougher to get through than, say, what Greyhounds and Tyloo had to go through.
Well, the EU minor run. That's pretty
With
it's pretty
Fnatic,
tough.
It is
with
tough,
Fnatic and NRP.
Yeah,
So
there's a lot to play for in the European minor. So to come through that and actually qualify with the tournament themselves is fantastic. Now, strong contenders. I think you've nailed it in the sense of Vitality. G2, you can't look past those guys. Vitality, right
Mouse
now.
as well, right?
Mouse as
Surely
well.
Mouse.
Surely
They're
Mouse.
the top three for me.
Yeah, and I think NRG just sort of sit on the cusp of that. I do agree with Furia to a degree, but I think they're more so in danger. I actually think North may be in danger as well.
I think North
Yeah.
are in danger.
North are
I-
definitely in
Yeah, I
danger.
think they're in danger. I want to look, and I know, it's easy for me to say, and for us being the Australians and things like that, but I think Greyhounds will do well.
Ooh, okay,
Yep, I
they
think
did
they will.
really well in the minor, correct?
There
Now,
they did.
I want to touch on Greyhound just a little bit later, but do you see Greyhound as a strong contender for making it through to the next stage of play?
Maybe not a favorite, but definitely could be, a dark horse as far as making it through. You got to remember it's, their last tournament with Urcast as well. They'll be wanting to send him off on a good note.
Correct. Now we'll
So-
touch on that a little bit later. Now, let's flip it up a little bit. Who do you feel like the weak contenders are? Like looking at that group, who are in real danger of going 0-3?
Tyloo.
Tyloo?
I don't even notice complexity was there.
Well, that's
Because,
their logo change. That'll do that to
Yep.
you.
Yeah.
I think
Didn't see that come through.
safe to say Simon Gaming or Simon Gaming from Australia.
Yeah, Tyloo,
Yep,
Simon, Hellraisers for me.
Well, they're playing with a coach.
Yep. And who
Ooh,
else is
okay.
playing with a coach here?
Well, not until the
Not
next
in this
stage.
one, yeah.
MIBR are playing with a
MIBR.
coach.
Which
just
to
circumnavigate
touch
the-
on what I said earlier. That's why.
Yeah.
And it's what are they going to do, to fix the integrity of the major?
Well, that's an entirely different argument in the sense that like it is.
Anyway,
I
yeah.
actually really like
that
the
one.
analogy that HLTV confirmed used, where it was like the World Cup. So
Yeah.
you've got regions that are always going to be stronger than others. Oh, jeez. Taking messages on desk.
I'm not
Come on,
taking
man.
it. I'm turning it on
We spoke
silent.
about this.
I'm going to blame Jess. Yeah, that was Jess. Sorry,
God
guys.
Damn it, Jess. Was it important?
I didn't check it.
Was it
Sorry,
a
Jess.
pick'em tip?
Hope so.
Okay, I'm looking at Jess like she's over there, but she's not.
She's probably in chat.
That's where chat is.
Yeah, well, I've got bad eyes.
But in the sense that I was talking about, there's certain regions that are always going to be stronger. There's certain regions that are always going to be weaker. But due to how many teams from that certain region to get through, there's always going to be weaker teams that just make it through to the pool.
Yeah. I mean, look, the way Renegades got through last time was actually crazy good. They almost beat Australis. They beat FaZe. But apart from that, you can get through with a good lucky run. And I think that's what happened with, like we were saying, Complexity and the Inferno run. For Greyhounds, you think they're a great chance. I think they're
a dark horse.
I think they're extremely dark. But if they get, this happens all the time, if they get like a Tyloo, again, like if they go 0-1 and match up against Tyloo, and then they get like a couple of CIS teams in a row, we'll smoke CIS teams. That's what I just think. Because our play style is just batshit crazy. It is.
It is.
Yeah.
Is it in the sense that they're like
CIS
this
teams,
level?
I don't know.
no respect? Is that how you think it should be approached?
No respect at this level?
Yeah. Well, like you approach them. If you approach them with too much respect, that's where it can actually work.
Yeah,
against you.
absolutely. No respect is a good way to go. Don't play by the rules, stuff like that, especially being
Pull your network cable
a
out.
guy no one knows. Being a team no one knows. You go up against a structured team like a CIS team, and they'll just be so furious at what you're throwing at them.
On that as well, back when, for the minor and playing into that, the Asian and Australian teams, obviously I was over there with Avant, we didn't actually have access to many of the European teams. There was IEM Chicago going on, and there was also a bit of a player break. A lot of the scrims that were happening for teams like Greyhounds were against CIS.
Yep.
So they've had a lot of time to get acclimatized.
Works both ways.
It does work both ways. But they shouldn't be caught off guard. So as long as they've done their preparation and they come in, playing to their sort of best form, so to speak, then they should be able to take the CIS.
I think they will, though, because they've got everything to lose. Like they're losing their 5th, so
That's everything.
that's everything. And then it's starting fresh. If you lose, like they've got their core, but after Urki's gone, like
It was like
It's gonna
that
be
Fast
different.
and Furious meme that they put on Twitter. I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's perfect. Like
One last
ride.
Yeah.
And that's what it is too.
Stole my line.
Yeah.
like
That's
get
what it
many
is,
lines.
right? You're like, okay, well, we've got this last hurrah and they're just going to leave everything out on the pitch, you know what I mean? But anyway, for me, for my dark horse, I do think, despite ragging on CIS, I think Forza.
Yeah. That like
For me, they're the dark horse.
yeah, I think mine lowest on the list there, like in terms of rankings, that would be the dark horse as well. Would be Ints. I don't think anyone under that is going to make it. I can't see Dream Eaters, Hellraisers, or Simon making an upset there.
I don't think dreams are very filling. Like when you eat them.
No.
So I just don't think they're going to have enough.
They lack substance.
They're going to have not enough nutrition going into the challenger stage.
I don't know. I got some pretty big dreams, Jim.
I know, but like big serving
That
doesn't
dreamer.
mean filling sometimes.
Yeah, well.
So the
yeah, that's true.
dream may be dead in that instance. Now, I want to quickly go around the grounds. If you were to run a virtual pick'em right now, who would be your 3-0? So who do you think is going to go through surefire 3-0 Mac?
No, you first.
What do you mean? I'm the host.
Oh, okay.
I'm
You go
coming
last
around
then.
this way.
Right. Oh,
Coming around.
vitality.
Nice try, mate.
If you
I'm
are
coming around the mountain.
doing pick'ems and you don't have vitality as your 3-0, I think you're an idiot. That's it.
That's the
That's the most sure thing there.
Yeah.
See, look, we say this every major. There's a sure thing, and they go 3-0. But how many people get that 3-0 wrong? Australis didn't go 3-0 last time.
True.
And that was in their...
Who picked complexity?
yeah.
Well,
Bro.
it's like Ian said though. Like it depends who you match up against, and I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot. There's a lot of play here.
Look, I think for me, just through the way that they've developed it from IEM Sydney onwards and the amount of competition that they've seen and witnessed and experienced and everything and their growth, I'm going to go Mouse Sports.
Okay. Solid pick. Sean? Now, I've got to preface this as well. You had the pleasure of playing some of these teams in practice, correct, with the Avant guys whilst they were at the mine. They were all in Berlin, and
Correct,
you obviously spent some time in Poland as well, boot camping.
Witnessed it, to clarify. Witnessed it.
You witnessed it.
Witnessed
Yeah,
it,
you
yeah.
personally,
Yeah.
Sean. You were.
I
you
was
were doing
was there. Yeah.
that. Hey guys.
No, I did, and I mean, I don't know how much of an edge that really gives me in
Yeah.
this. You know, when it comes down to it, you know, basically you're looking at it. Who's going to win 3 best of ones?
Mhm.
And it's hard to pick.
I think
It's hard to pick. I think Vitality is the safe choice.
Yeah.
I think Mouse is a good choice as well. You know, you could make an argument for G2 as well, but I am actually going to stick with my original thing, and I think Fury are going to 3-0.
Oh, shit, okay.
Oh, you think they're going to go?
Yeah, I think they're going to 3-0.
I think you got to remember that the French like to touch spiders, if you know what I mean. You know, the Aussies, we go there and we're like, we're not here to dick
You want
around.
to elaborate on
Yeah,
that?
I want to so badly, but
I think everybody in
You've already
chat
spun
knows
your
what
web,
you
mate.
were, what
yeah,
you were
I've
saying.
spun my
So,
web.
Yeah.
But basically, the French are known for, you know, taking their foot off the pedal against lesser opponents. So, yeah, you know, the major's a good place for an upset in a best of one.
It is. Now, I'm not going to be blindsided by any favouritism in this instance. It is, for me, it's actually, like, there's obviously some teams that go to. I'm with Mac on Vitality. They look the strongest coming into this. I think
Yes,
it's, I mean, I'm
you guys
playing
are
it,
being
playing it
safe.
safe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
real
100%.
safe.
Playing it real safe.
No, I respect
But-
the instinct.
If I'm going to pick an outside chance for a 3-0, crazy.
That's
interesting
so
you-
outside.
It's interesting to
pretty
bring them
outside.
up because they were boot camping at Poland when we were there. And I got to have a little sticky beak into something, you know, like obviously you look through the door when you're walking past, you see who they're scrimming. Well, it's like a glass door, right? So we had to walk past it.
Not
to
a
get
glass
to our-
ceiling.
No, not a glass ceiling. We had to walk past it, but we got to see, you know, some of their score lines and things like that. They looked strong.
And you're like, oh, it wasn't an advantage being in Poland at all.
No, well, I mean,
I think it was. I think they are a strong team.
I think that they're another. I'd put them in like that dark horse category as well.
I think it's going to be
Bit
very
of a surprise
difficult.
package.
Just to skip ahead maybe a little bit, but
Well, they've
that
got
first game for Greyhounds is going to be super tough.
yeah, they've got Greyhound first, so I
Mm.
think it's going to be a pretty close game, and I'll probably eat my words if Greyhound do drop the ball there, but I know that Greyhound are going to be going into that like fully prepared.
It depends which one Greyhound turns up, I guess.
Yeah.
Mm.
True. I mean, I'm I mean, we're going to get into this in a moment, but let's just quickly go around who do you feel as though is going to be the 0-3? So I'll start. I feel as though it is going to be really tough for some of these teams. It's pretty easy to go safe and go Simon Gaming, Simon Gaming, however you want to pronounce it. I feel as though they're really inexperienced when it comes to these sorts of competitions and this sort of stage. Whilst they obviously qualified through the minor system, that in itself is an achievement. It's a whole new bunch of pressure to perform. And I think for a lot of these teams, success is just getting that sticker in the game. And like there's a whole heap of relief that comes with that. And, you know, back in the day, there were some teams in that, you know, they just played for the weekend. They're there to enjoy it. They realise that they're realistically not in with a shot.
Yep.
So they just play for the weekend. I don't know if they're going to fall victim to that sort of syndrome, but damn, it's tempting for them. So I feel as though they're the ones that are probably poised to go 0-3.
I was going to say Ints,
Okay.
but I've changed my mind at the last second, and you guys aren't going to agree with me, but I'm going to throw it out there anyways. I think North.
North.
Yeah,
0-3?
0-3.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, I don't know if they're that bad.
That's a bit munker.
Throwing it out there. I mean, we're going to find out.
I mean, you're entitled to your opinion.
I am entitled to my opinion here. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Look, I would probably actually go, just to not to pick the same candidate as Jim. I'm going to go Vanguard.
Okay.
You know,
Even with the dread?
yeah, even with the Dren. I mean, look, I love him, but the guys that he's with, I'm not sure about. You know,
It's not like that same sort of young, hungry Evango we saw several majors
Exactly.
ago that just basically hit the ground running.
Yeah.
No one was used to them. No one had seen them coming. They've got eyes trained on them this time, haven't
yeah,
they?
for sure. And it's it's not like. Do you remember seeing the Vega Squadron rise? Just like went from 0 to hero. I don't think we'll see something like that from a Vanguard. I think that team, even though with a Dren, hopefully he puts in a good firepower performance. But I don't know. I'm just concerned about them. I think Simon versus a Vanguard who comes out on top. You got the hungry young kids on both teams. I guess it could be a 50-50, and so therefore I just put them in that 0-3 with you. I think I also then compare them to Ints, and I think Brazil is a very strong region. You've got Furia there, and if Furia was able to come through there, then I think Ints also stands a chance. And then I would look at, Tai Lu, and I really just think Tai Lu suck against anyone outside of Asia. I'd like to see them perform a lot better, but they just do the wrong thing time and time again in clutch rounds.
I think with Tai Lu, it's an interesting one. So, I mean, going into the minor, we as in Avant at the time, felt like it was a weaker Tai Lu than they've put forward in the past. And then actually, playing against them, watching them play, they're such a surprise package. You just don't know what you're going to get with Tai Lu when you jump in the server.
When that's the thing.
You just don't know what you're going to get.
When Aussies verse Tai Lu, they don't know what's going on because Tai Lu just make all these risks and gambles and weird plays.
Yeah.
And that's what we do to CIS region, right?
Yes.
So that way I can understand it. But when Tai Lu comes up against Europeans, they still try to do this stuff. And the Europeans are just like,
what are you doing?
They catch onto it straight away and they're just like, this is ridiculous. Because they're on another level. And Tai Lu will just constantly be stuck at that level and I don't think there's anything they can do about it. People say we should lean into Asia to get better. Australia esports, to lean into Asian esports like League, because they're good at League of Legends and whatever else.
Yeah, but they don't ever really seem to have that same sort of investment in
First-person
FPS.
shooters. Yeah. And you get out of Asia in FPS and it's a way better landscape. Why would we go to Asia and prac there? Yeah, they're close, but we're already number one there. If Greyhounds win at the quals, there's anything to go by. So, yeah, I think that's just as bad as domestic competition to practice for a major. So that's why I think it's either going to be a Vanguard, Simon, or Tai Lu.
Okay.
Yeah, I reckon Tyler's mine.
Yep.
Like certain 0-3.
Nice.
Yeah.
For
I was going to say that
already mentioned.
before we had that conversation. I was going to jump in and then I was like,
Go ahead. Next time, just
Next
You're
time.
allowed to talk back. It's a
yeah, I
talk
know
show.
it is, but I'm tired, so I'll just let it fly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about anything?
I've had a big day. Yeah, no, that's it.
No, that's it. Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
We've all had big days.
Yeah.
Fuck, there's 24 hours in each day, I believe.
Yeah.
I
I will say I just don't trust Ben Tet. He's just a crazy man.
Benson Tet.
Yep.
Correct. Now, obviously, you can. I mean, if you're like Ian and you like to hedge your bets, and you think there's several teams that are in danger of going through it, there's several teams in danger of going forward, even when asked to pick one. You can play the fantasy on Skrilla. So if you hit the exclamation mark Skrilla in chat, you can check that out as well. You can have all those players in your team.
I just want to go out there and just put it on record. I think there's zero chance Tyler goes 0-3.
Zero chance.
Zero chance.
Who are they going to beat?
That's the thing. I can't tell you who they're going to beat, but there's no way that they don't pull one best of one off.
You're going against me.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, right? So you think, okay. Yeah, but that's because you think Greyhound is going to do well, right?
I think Greyhound are a dark horse.
And you think Greyhound only just beats Tyloo, so Tyloo
I wouldn't say they only just beat Tyloo, but yeah, they beat Tyloo. I think I'm not saying Tyloo go through,
HLTV.
but I think there is no way they go 0-3. Maybe they go 1-3.
The way I look at this also is you remember how people got to this stage. Some people had to qualify again. Some people are here from the leftovers.
Yeah, no, I'm aware.
So that's why I went at Vanguard, because that Katowice 2019 result is not. I don't think that's enough weight to pull them through this masterclass. There's Vitality, there's G2, there's Mouse Sports. I rate North, and then you've got the NRG who are from NA, the only NA representative here, and I reckon they're going to kill it.
It's complexity, isn't there?
Oh yeah, but
Yeah.
who cares about them? They got Ricky.
What's that supposed to mean?
forgotten Aussie.
No.
The forgotten
I mean, you can only
Aussie.
play Inferno so many times. Shazam going on HLTV saying this is the best boot camp they've ever had. I'm going to be really
Do
interested.
you know
to
why
see
it's the best
results.
boot camp they've ever had?
They played more than one map.
No.
Wow.
Have you seen their facilities?
I can only imagine. I don't want to see it.
Like,
That's going to upset me.
they have the sickest stuff, like, imaginable. Because
I'm not surprised. Because
yeah,
of the
they
Dallas
got, they got that
Cowboys.
NFL money
Yeah.
now. Like, they're in good,
the
sickest
good on them.
state of the art stuff. Anyway, like, as you said, good on them.
That's awesome. Not just for them, but for esports.
But did they have that last major?
No.
Was the facility?
No.
So
No, but they had Yay.
they did. So
Hey, mate,
this
he's
time,
out there tweeting settings, all right, for your NVIDIA.
well, I mean, it's a good case study. Is that going to make a difference for complexity? Obviously, they did well last time, right? I know the roster's slightly different, but
Do you want me to hover over it for you, Sean?
thanks,
There you
Ian.
go. They've got Obo, the young gun.
I'm
okay.
keen to see how he goes, in the sense that, like, he hit the scene with, like, a lot of fanfare, but I have not seen a lot of complexity since and heard nothing.
Yeah. It's
I
hard.
mean, I have them as a dark horse as well. I think they're a surprise package again.
Okay.
Look,
Let's change flavour. Let's talk closer to home. Let's talk the Aussie teams. I want to quickly touch on Renegades because they're not in the Challenger stage, so we'll keep this one brief. Legends. They have earned their way through the next stage. Obviously, they only hit.
you love Twitch chat, don't you? Don't click that button.
Why would I not click that button? I thought it would show me all the stuff that was already there, but it's gone.
We're
now.
live, by the way. I don't know if you know that. We can't edit this one out.
Mac and Twitch chat love affair.
I can edit this one out. Don't you
Okay,
want
just this is this huge deviation.
Keep going, Jim. Sorry to interrupt.
No.
Some things really trigger me.
This is my
Something about Aussie teams, was it?
no. Matt, do you just are you a slave to the Twitch chat? I know you used to, like, when I was with you on the desk, you had the phone out. You were even in there commenting yourself. Has that still continued?
Of course.
Okay.
I come from a streaming background. So.
Max started the stream in chat, just FYI. While our intro was on, he's like, "What's this? Oh my god!"
What's happening? What's this intro? Who are
Who
these
put-
guys?
It's an intervention.
It's so
Who put that
funny.
It's an intervention.
Who put that together? What an absolute joke. Anyway, let's, as Ian said, get back on track. Aussie teams Renegades are through the next stage. They got an easier run in the sense that obviously they're guaranteed of a placing in that sense, but they haven't really had the ideal run-in compared to last major, where they had the
Peaking.
minor. They had 2 months of boot camping in between. Like, they were literally, well, when I say 2 months of boot camping, they boot camped for the minor, they stayed in Europe, and then they kept playing, obviously, through the major stages. So, like, there's a month gap in between the minor and the major.
What a
They were there
perfect time to
beforehand.
practice.
They were there practicing all the European teams.
They've been boot camping for a month leading into this in Poland as well at the Kingwin Esports Performance Center.
Did they say hi?
We missed each other. We didn't actually get to see them because
I've
we
exited.
got knocked
I don't know if you
down
know
the minor. don't know if you caught that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keep saying we. Obviously, I'm not with Avani anymore. So the
No,
Avani
it's your
boys.
Oh,
it's
very
your achievement.
obvious.
It's your achievement,
But-
John. Just like Ian's like we
Well, I mean,
with immunity
I
stuff.
like how you say. I like how you say Renegades haven't had an ideal lead in to this major. Let's be real. They've had pretty shocking results considering what we saw them do in Katowice. So for them to then, they had IEM Sydney. They didn't even make the stage. They've had pretty lackluster results in some of their other tournaments that they've been in. I'm really hoping they turn up. I really hope that they turn up and they secure themselves another legend spot. But as far as like their lead in and their performances in going into this major, it hasn't been great.
No, I've got my ears finally tuned for every single sigh that Ian lets out. Ian, I feel like you let a sigh out then. When
It's just how I breathe. Will people just get over this? But yeah, look, I get triggered thinking about Renegade sometimes. But if they use that player break this time to prack up hard with the roster that they've got, and with Gratisfaction, if he can get back into that form that he was in when they're at their peak, before all the visa troubles that really robbed them of their star period.
continuity, right?
Yeah, continuity, confidence. We see how much confidence makes a huge difference.
We never saw their
CS.
ceiling after the minor. The major. They didn't get that.
That's the point. We never saw their ceiling. We saw their peak. Like, they've been peaking. Grat had to come home.
What if it was just a very early player break? Players have been asking for that big break. Grat just had his early, so he's ready for this major. Think about it like that.
Different kind of big break.
Yeah.
I want my big break, and it's actually just a holiday.
No, it was good to catch up with him and the fam when they were in Sydney. But yeah, for me, I think they are the Aussie teams that in the past, Renegades in the past, I'll just say Renegades, in the past didn't use the player break wisely. Took it for granted a little bit. This time I don't think they could afford that. And I think they've really had to work hard to and it's a conscious decision to keep that legend spot because you're doing the whole region a favour by keeping that spot, assuming we get 2 spots at the next minor qual, which is where Greyhounds and Tyloo need to do their respect to the region.
That's why we're back in Greyhounding.
Yep. And so I think for me, look, it's all going to be about how Aaron develops and Cassard develops the squad.
I was going to say, Cassad's a big part of this.
For those of you that aren't on first name basis with like the Renegades players,
it's how they develop the squad.
Yeah.
Given that their past success, you can't just go back and emulate that with the exact same strategies, right? So time's gone, meta's changed. The org has been and gone. So now it's just about how they use that break and how they use Liaz, because I feel like they were underutilizing him before. So it'll be good to see how they perform. And I think this version of Renegades that we're going to see at the major is the version of Renegades that we're going to see out for the rest of 2019.
Yeah, you made a really interesting point there, and I want to sort of wrap up conversation on Renegades. It was like around the org change.
Oh, it's literally what I was about to ask.
I was going to say, they literally...
They skipped it.
Well, no, they came right in and actually... quite
well as
I think it was important to them. Like, I mean, if you look at Katowice and things like that, I think the org meta was a big part of their success.
Yeah. I Azza was great with it. I think that's safe to say. Some people struggled, namely JKS.
True, he's an M4 fanboy. I know this.
The unsilenced M4 is JKS through and through. It's as JKS as the crouch left, left strafe crouch peak.
Yeah, he's never really adopted the silent.
M4. No. But so I remember we were watching some of the games and you were like, "Oh, Justin, just use an M4." Yeah. But that's all gone now. That's all gone now. And for those of you not on a first name basis, like Jim with the Renegades and other folks from Queensland, Justin is JKS.
Me mate.
Yep.
My stepson.
Keith.
My stepson.
Should have said Keith.
Yeah, no, Keithy.
Anyway, so that's that.
We're on middle name basis now.
Talking about orgs really quick, I specifically remember Azza getting like jumping org shots.
Yes,
like, clips of it. You remember those?
In Con on
that was
Mirage.
disgusting, and they were just hitting, and I was like, "What are you doing? How?"
It's adversely affected all of us.
I'd go as far to guess that was against Big, was it?
Oh,
yeah.
I'm not that specific.
Another easy beat at the time, but whatever. Who cares?
Yeah. Whatever.
Move on.
Let's talk about Greyhound. Now, these guys are in the Challenger stage, unlike Renegades, so they've got some work to do, and I think you're right in saying that the region hangs their hopes on both Tyloo and Greyhound
Yeah.
to keep this region in contention with as many slots as it currently has. Now, obviously, Renegades also need to uphold their end of the bargain as well and try and retain that Legends status as well. But there's work to be done in the Challenger stage by Greyhound. They've had an interesting run to the major in a sense their minor performance was quite strong. Now, they've also had the majority of the squad sitting in Europe for some time. I think there was only one departure back home, maybe Sicko. I think I saw him stuck in some unfortunate situation in terms of riots, but he obviously was able to rejoin the rest of the team, and they've had to resume business as usual. Do you feel as though, obviously there's a lot of factors at play here, this Urcast's last ride with the crew, where are we at with Greyhound? How do you feel as though they're going to go?
With Greyhound, this time around, obviously the experience of Katowice really helped them. So I had a pretty good chat with Will when I was in Berlin. Will's the owner, sort of manager of
Mr. Greyhound?
Mr. Greyhound himself.
For those of you not on first name basis.
Yep. So I just wanted to clear that up, right?
Recurring
I had a
theme.
pretty good chat with Will, and something they learned from Katowice, which they kind of changed up this time from qualifying through the minor, was last time they boot camped pretty much non-stop leading into the major, and to some degree they found that a little bit detrimental, a little bit of a burnout. This time, I know that they, after qualifying through the minor, the players each got, I think it was about a week or so sort of break where they could come back to Australia or they could go somewhere in Europe and take a little bit of time to sort of reset before going back into their boot camp. And I think that was a really wise idea. And I think hopefully that results in them potentially getting a better result this time around than they did last time. So as far as preparation's concerned, I know they've had an adjustment compared to Katowice, and it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, I'll get Ian's thoughts in a second. But Mac, how do you feel with Greyhound going? I know Ian's always got thoughts. He's constantly thinking.
Ian's got a lot to say all the time. He's a very smart man.
But Greyhound, Urcast, you were onto that.
Yeah.
You were onto that early news. I don't know if you broke it in one of those not another podcast scenarios, but we had
Might have.
Yeah, well, when we were talking about it, it was like breaking news, and then we had to push the button on a few things to remain relevant. But the the news itself now, how do you feel as though Urcast, obviously not staying with Greyhound beyond the major, he's got to return back to Mongolia due to his visa expiring. How do you feel as though does that play in motivation terms?
Of course it does. Do you know how fiery that Mongolian man is?
It's true.
That's going to come
He's
out
got beef.
in the server, outside of the server. They're going to fire up and just have a great time. Do you remember at IEM when they almost got 16-0'd and got the one map? And then Dicky Boy jumped up and was getting real crazy. Do you remember that clip?
Yeah, he got real Stacey.
He got real happy. That's going to be them most rounds they win. And they're just going to be able to take that all through the challenger stage at least.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say they've had a really strong minor campaign. They're probably the most convincing team for me at that Asian minor. And for them to go through easily, quite easily. And you wouldn't, going into that.
There was the 40 bomb by Malta to save the day.
Yeah,
That was big.
But okay, Malta was convincing.
Yeah. That was a do or die situation, and it did look like they were going to choke out. And that was just against Tyloo, so...
Just Tyler, the other team that
I know, but if we're going to go ahead and say that they're a class above, it's not really the case. They struggled. They showed a lot of weakness, but one player in particular rose above that crazy level that we haven't seen Malta play at that level in such a long
when they
time.
needed it too. But let's not take away from Tyloo, though.
Other ego, Malta ego.
Yeah.
Let's not take away from Tyloo, though. That's why I think Tyloo won't go 0-3. Tyloo have the potential, when they're all firing, they have the firepower in that roster to be
The thing is,
nutty. Greyhounds faced that and were able to still come away with the win.
face it twice.
Yeah, faced it twice,
Yeah.
was able to come away with the win. So as much as we're sort of sitting there going they weren't super convincing, I think they were. I think that they were convincing in all of their other matches, and even against Tyloo, when they went up against a fired-up Tyloo who had counter-stratted, who had planned for Greyhounds, prepared for Greyhounds incredibly hard, right? They were then... They lost. Totally lost. Yes, Malta played a huge game, but I think... that, we can't take anything away from Greyhounds. I think that traditionally they probably, like most teams, would have lost to Tyloo on that map. Greyhounds were able to come up with the win off some incredible individual performances, but
I feel as though I'm sticking with my comment. They were the most convincing.
Yeah,
That's
I
just,
agree.
Yeah, they were
because the other teams
until
weren't convincing.
until that one map.
Yeah.
Right. It did come down to the last map of a best of 3. Got to remember that, right? But the way that they nearly choked out, that's a big sign of weakness. For Malta to have to rise up and perform to that level, that scares me. The rest of the teams at the Asian minor were a complete joke, in my opinion. MVP have never gotten back to the form that they were once in, where you would see them get out of group stages and
Well, a different team, right?
different team,
Yeah.
completely different lineup. They've got the stars. There's just something wrong with the way that they play. You see some of the comments they make on Twitter afterwards saying, "We don't know what we're doing wrong, but we just keep making mistakes." They're a very stubborn team, admittedly. When you watch them play, they'll do something wrong and they just don't learn from it. But to me, they were both those teams cut above the rest of the teams in the region. But Greyhounds are better than Tyloo, and I think Tyloo nearly snaked a win because Greyhounds started to choke themselves. What you get from winning that region as convincingly as they did, though, I think that really shows that Greyhounds are a level above because they had to choke themselves, limit themselves to give Tyloo that chance.
Asphyxiate.
I mean, even Greyhound. I mean, I'll bring it back to Avant as well, who were there, and I mean, we versus Greyhound or Avant versus Greyhound in the minor, almost 2-0'd them in the minor. Lost map 2 16-14.
So it was a minor qualifier.
Minor qualifier,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll make that clear. Lost 16-14 on map 2 Nuke after winning map 1, and then ended up getting closed out by Greyhounds on map 3.
Yep.
Fast forward a month, versus Greyhounds on the same map that we beat them on, or was the 16-14 map? I'll have to check that. But 16-0.
Yeah.
Greyhounds 16-0'd
Yeah.
on LAN. And the boys will hate me bringing this up. Sorry, lads.
Oh, they're not watching.
But it happened.
But it did happen. But not only that, it was the adaptions they made as well. Like their preparation. It's not like they've just gone in and gone, "Oh, we'll just play our game." Their preparation for going up against us and going up against the other teams. And I mean, there's probably a lot of credit there that goes towards Neil, their coach. And I think that their approach to this major has been better than it was in Katowice. I think that the mentality that they have going into this and the way that they've approached it is why I think they're going to be a dark horse. I think they're going to surprise everyone here, all the fans back home, and a lot of the teams they go up against.
For me, what it is what I have trouble with is with that analogy is that a domestic league, you know your opponent better than anyone else. Avant coming in as a severe underdog against Greyhounds can do a lot more homework than what Greyhounds could do against Avant. I think Greyhounds also coming into a domestic qualifier will be thinking about order and anyone else who's up there at that time. And so the last thing on their mind is Avant. I think Avant did a legacy. I think Avant just went and smashed through a major qual and with great results. Good on them. Don't get me wrong. I'm really chuffed that they did that. And now they've got that international experience as a team. And I think what showed with that 16-0 was like anything you did to us in Australia was because we let you.
Yeah, that's fair.
Bring it back for a second. They did just lose a map 16-14 to Mad Luck Wizards as well.
Avant?
Yeah.
I mean, look,
Just
before.
earlier
Oh,
tonight.
geez, he's bringing in updates.
Earlier. Yeah.
Well,
Jeez.
there's live updates here from Mac.
Not related to the major.
No, not at all.
That's a best of 3. Though,
It's relevant to what we're talking about. It's
Yeah,
a best
look,
of 5,
and that's
when,
what
Avant has one map.
That's the kind of flash in the pan performance I expected Avant to be. I didn't expect him to be a mainstay. We'll just have to wait and see. We've got the lineup changes we discussed in the other podcast, so I'm sure we'll get back onto that subject later. But that's why I just think Greyhounds are a cut above Tyloo. They had to shoot themselves in the foot to make it close. I think Greyhounds will still do really well at this minor qual. I think there's some easy pickings here if they get the opportunity to verse them. But that's what it comes down to, right? We talk about that Swiss bracket. We talk about going 0-3. You only get to choose. You only get to verse 3 opponents at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And luck and fortune decides those opponents because you can't verse people who are on a different score to you. So if you win the first round, you verse the people who won the first round. If you lose the first round, you verse the people who lost the second round. If there's a crazy upset in that first round, and no pun intended, then they're going to come up against maybe a weaker opponent if they beat crazy.
Yep.
And that'll do them really good because then they can get through on 3 best of ones. But if they go through that really tough slog if they lose to crazy and then they get someone else like maybe a Furia and then they the best of 3 is against someone equally as
I was
good,
gonna
then they're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, just to add a spanner to the works. So you were talking about the format. One of the parts that I didn't mention was obviously the first round matchups are done on like HLTV rankings and seeded like that. But then their next matchups are based on like a live ELO that they do.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And it's basically like a silent ballot to some degree that like the teams actually rate each other.
Yeah.
I
really like that, but then you get like the desperate housewives of like, we're going to vote these people bad on purpose.
Or like it's a survivor situation.
It's survivor, yeah.
It's like, do you get immunity in this situation?
Exactly.
Well, another interesting point that I don't think we've brought up with this particular sort of Challenger series and with the major system as a whole is, now correct me if I'm wrong here, we may have to do a bit more research in this, but my understanding is this time around there are 4 teams. There are 4 teams that were already part of the previous major, right? That have come straight into the Challenger stage.
Yep.
Then there's the top 2 from each region, right? And then there's the play-in teams, the 3 play-in teams.
Yes,
that's right.
Yes, 2.
Next,
playing teams.
3.
Next,
Oh.
3, because of Cloud9 situation, right? Next major, my understanding is there won't be a play-in tournament. If you qualify through this stage now and you get into that top 16, you now are automatically in to the Challenger series for the next major. So instead of it just being the 4 teams that sort of 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th that get that guaranteed spot from Katowice, it's going to be 8 teams. And there's going to be no play-in tournament. There'll just be the top 2 from each region, is my understanding of how this is going to happen into the next major. These teams will know that, which means there's so much more on the line now to make it
because that's what they need,
this.
more pressure.
Yeah, more pressure, but there's more on the line. You make it through this stage, you're in the next Challenger series.
I
you
agree
get the
with it.
sticker.
Yeah, I agree with it.
You get all the rest of the perks that come with it.
Yeah.
So there's a lot for these guys to be playing for, more so than ever before, as far as securing yourself further opportunities in the major. And with that, I think that means the play-in tournament's gone for the next major as well.
I don't disagree with it. I actually quite like it in the sense that you needed to sort the wheat from the chaff a little bit more, and teams are basically getting by on like 6-month-old results to get to that next stage,
or like lineup changes on other teams. Yeah,
you want that major to be one of the strongest fields.
That's why we say about eras, right? When we talk about like a Astralis era or Blastralis, and then you've got the ebb and the flow of when you peak, and only a few teams in history have shown consistent results at the top to stay in that top 3 the whole time, right? And I think that goes for no matter which segment of the rankings you're at.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see that like top 3 timeline in terms of dynasties. Like how long were they sitting in that top 3? What was their
because that's what makes
May
them.
2016
That's what makes
through
them the legends that they are, right? Those top 3, top 4 that just stick around. But these other guys down here, they're here all along, and they're not going too hard. They're not shifting too hard. And so I think there's these teams that sit about 10 to 20, right? Top 10, top to 20. And they're just in there, but they're shuffling constantly. And then a major qualifier comes along, and it's whoever's best positioned at that shuffle. And I think that's how we get these teams that just turn up and just qualify for a major once and twice.
So a major comes along with the strength to carry on.
Yeah.
Is that what we're going with?
I was really hoping you would go somewhere else with that. But
I was going to say, I'm interested to see it like graphed, like one of those brand charts. You see them on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I've seen them. Yeah.
Basically just sort of,
some people steal
I'm
it.
so remotely I'm so engaged with the industry. Look at this cool chart that I didn't make.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, LinkedIn in a nutshell. Esports consultant, by the way. That's on my LinkedIn profile if you want to check it. But I'm going to round this section up. There's one more Aussie that we want to talk about, and it's Ricky in complexity. He's the forgotten Aussie.
He is the forgotten Aussie.
He's departed the Australian shores and has been in North American rosters.
And to be fair, he's done
now
really well over in North America. And we forget that. He's, like you said, the forgotten Aussie, someone we don't bring up.
We forget?
Iain forgets nothing.
Oof. Go, man.
You're going to have plenty of time to talk.
Yeah.
Right?
Keep digging. Keep digging.
No, but like, look, he's forgotten about. He's forgotten about back
100%.
here. He isn't brought up very much when we talk about Aussies at majors, and it usually takes a major for us to bring him back up again. Oh, look, Ricky with complexity.
Yeah, it has been.
But he has
went
done
rogue for a while.
He has done very well in North America, and he deserves some credit. Iain, have you got something you'd like to say?
Straight over the top.
Yeah, I know.
He went rogue for a while. Yeah, exactly. Now you understand.
Situation's a bit more complex.
I just tune it out. Shh. Jim, stop. Please. Okay.
He's just a renegade.
Please. Now you're all doing it. No.
I've got
I
you
don't know
back.
how to make an acronym out of CLG.
Ricky, you've got to say, has been one of the best exports from the country because when he was in my lineup, he was definitely the best player statistically.
Yep.
And where he needed to improve was out of the server, right? Then my
It's
departure.
like the prime rib of Australia.
Yeah, then I depart. They go off. They have no success. Ricky still finds a way to stand out. Ricky gets picked up by the Renegades, and then he has his opportunity to shine. I think he does. He really puts his name in lights. He's the only player that's left Australian shores and stuck around. He's also left Renegades and gone clanless.
Relevant.
And gone clanless, and then found a way back into the North American scene, which no one else has done.
He
It almost counters
refused-
logic, doesn't it?
Well, wasn't there a quote from, I think it was Nothing, saying that he's one of the best teammates he's ever played with?
And isn't that crazy? Because he was one of the worst I ever played with.
Well, I mean, like you pointed out, he had some stuff he had to deal
But
with out of the
what I'm
server.
trying to say is, imagine that growth over 2 periods, over 2 years even, of Renegades, clanless, CLG. That whatever happened in CLG, somebody hurt Ricky because it made him a better man. And
You
now
just want to sit him down one day and be like, Ricky,
you've come a long way.
who hurt you?
Yeah. But basically, good on him. He's our best export. Yam goes over to Space Soldiers, disappears into the ether.
Into space.
Never-
He's been playing WoW.
Oh, well, I mean,
Lots of that.
Well,
that was...
the tides of darkness are coming.
If 1.6, if that WoW didn't get him in 1.6, it will certainly get him now. And so I think, I think props to Ricky. Sticking it out there, going to multiple NA organizations, basically an American now. Don't even bother coming back.
If you could ask him one thing, what would you ask Ricky?
If I could ask him one thing,
Yeah.
I've asked him a couple of things over time. Now I'd just like to see how he's going. I guess that's about it. Because in terms of Counter-Strike, I'm seeing the results on paper. I'm seeing the teammates talk about him. I'm seeing that he's sticking around and not getting kicked for being a dick. So I think that's proof that he's grown up. And now it's just how's he doing? Because I know how he's doing in the game because he's still relevant.
He's got several stickers, right? He had an immunity sticker, and now he's got a complexity sticker in the game. So he's consistently found his way into teams that are qualified for the major.
Honestly though, if you want to talk about a guy who Counter-Strike has saved his life, it'd be Ricky. A lot of people don't know about his background, but I think Counter-Strike, not outside of Australia. And I think that would be the question for, if I was doing content for the major, I'd be tell us about your upbringing and your, what would life be like for you, Ricky, if you weren't playing Counter-Strike?
I was going to say, interesting. That
He was a bouncer, karate, you name it. Remember his karate tweets? They were fantastic.
Yeah. I think he even found God at some stage. They all do.
Oh, don't ask him about chemtrails and Alan Jones and stuff like that. Trust me. That was a fun period for him as well.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
I'll
funny you
definitely-
said that though, because I saw that Banks, now that he's doing a lot of the reporting this major as well, he
love
said that
Banks.
he sort of drew out a lot of the backstories of people in their CS stories and careers and where they came from. So I wonder if he did get a hold of Ricky. That'd be good to see.
That would be good because I remember reading something about Brazilian CS and they were why do you think Brazilian CS is so successful? And they're because you can't afford to not succeed. I think for a lot of those players, and we raised it, I think, in the podcast as well, for those players where you can't afford to not succeed, they're the ones that do the best. It really does something to their work ethic, and they just seem to shine the most.
Yeah, well, it's there's two factors of motivation there, right? There's the intrinsic motivation, and then there's the extrinsic motivation as well. It's the circumstances motivate them as well as obviously that's desire to succeed. And they're a really interesting case for that, I would argue. But I mean, we're sort of starting to wrap up the preview. I just want to quickly recap as well. Obviously, we talked about our strong contenders, our weak contenders, who we thought would go 3-0, who we thought would go 0-3, and obviously we're going to thank our sponsor Skrilla as well, who, as we said, have been jumped on the podcast and supporting us. So make sure you support an Aussie company that is also reinvesting back into Australian esports as well. I think that's a really a good way to round out the whole recap on the Aussie teams as well. So Now we're going to get into the good stuff, boys. I want to, obviously we only have the first round of matchups to talk about. We're going to go through, and this is going to be the start of the tipping
Bring
comp.
'em up,
That's
bring 'em
right.
up.
That's we're going to run a tipping comp. That's right. We're going to put all our heads together and not make just a black and white collage.
Mhm.
We're going to make a. Actually, we're going to start maybe dressing like that
Why would you say that?
because I may already have.
You have to hold.
You
to
said we weren't
yourself.
going to give away our content.
Yeah, you got to hold yourself to it now. I mean,
Yeah, I know. Like Sean's had his
Dressing like that on our picture. Is that what you're talking about?
I just like
some
that
might
is something.
say like that.
Like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Well,
I
you-
got a
you get to
little
keep your
Pharrell hat
sunnies
going
on.
on.
Are you trying to suggest that that isn't me in the photo?
I was going to say, Ian dresses like that all the time. What do you mean?
Cameo as a
start?
pastry chef, Ian.
Well, I mean, I've always been interested.
I mean, like, look, most of that's Photoshop, but Ian's one, that's just him, mate. That's just.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
Most of that's Photoshop. Yeah, Ian's nose looks a little bit straighter.
Oh, please. At least the one thing going for me is that it is straight.
I'll get to get a cool leather jacket. I'm pretty pumped. You get your suspenders
Guys,
out.
you've had
That'll
all
be
week to
great.
look at it.
A
Can we
little
get
All week to look at it. I
yeah,
don't know about that.
a couple of days.
Couple of days. We're going to talk about the first round matchups as we try and steer this train wreck back on the tracks. Vitality up against Simon Gaming. I mean,
If we ever do a live show,
if we
Wait a second.
if we ever get commissioned,
that's the
for a
only
second
way
one-
you're getting me into that outfit or any of these bloody old timer outfits.
Is this not
actually
live
look-
enough?
You
Yeah.
look like
No, I mean like in person.
Oh, right.
you literally look like you're wearing Bill Cosby's attire.
It's not a good thing.
Like just in terms of the dress. That's it. I'm gonna leave that one there. That's anyway.
You just smoke screened out of that one. Hit
Ian's
behind
done.
I tried to help you.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remain
Like
TOS
coffee.
compliant. Okay.
Oh, you've cooked Jim now.
Oh,
too.
yeah,
Look what
he's
you've
done.
done. You-
I can't steer this back on.
Okay.
Vitality versus
Okay.
Simon Gaming. We'll go around the grounds. Tippy Cobb. We'll get to see each other's answers via the Google Docs anyway. So like this is where Mac can steal a few nice.
We needed the
Obvious
timer.
tips.
We needed the timer.
The timer for what?
Can you
For
reach
the articulate.
for the belt.
No, yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Jeez, the show quality went down.
This is
Sorry about that, everybody.
Ding, ding,
Is
ding.
that-
Yep.
Yeah.
That'll do.
Okay. Now how are we going to time it?
Just in your head.
Oh, you just go. Yeah.
Whenever
that's
you
it.
think I've-
You've had enough.
Whenever
mate.
you think
Get
I've
out.
said enough, just bing bing.
Yeah.
We're going to go around. What do you reckon? Just all the tips run the way through? Okay, we'll go.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll ask you. Vitality versus Simon Gaming, Mac.
All right. So Vitality number 2 in the world according to HLTV rankings. No,
Yeah. Yeah. Smash that. Smash that bell.
I'm off.
Vitality. I mean, look, I think we're all going to go Vitality, but I'll give,
Yep.
give you a chance to say something.
Vitality?
Yeah, Vitality.
All right, cool. Avanga versus Complexity. Mac.
Vanguard Complexity. Oh, I'd have to go Complexity.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm rooting for Complexity.
Complexity.
Avanga. All right, G2 versus Tyloo. Mac.
Oh, I'm going to have to say G2, only because said Tyler's going to go out 0-3, so I can't go back on that.
My man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go G2 as well.
G2.
Tyler.
Ooh, man believes. I'm going G2. I ain't that.
It's because I got a ginger logo.
As we've said, we already touched on Complexity versus Avanga. Hellraisers versus Furia, Mac.
Oh, Furia. I'm a big fan of Furia. They're the Krieg gods, and I want to
The
see them
Krieg
just tap
gods.
some heads.
Yeah.
It's true. They did the 5 Krieg buy. They're one of the first teams that started just doing it. It's great.
Wolf Krieg. That's what they're known as.
No.
That's a. Oh, the logo's not a wolf. Anyway, continue.
Yep, Furia as well.
Furia.
Yeah, Fury.
Yeah, I think that's pretty safe to say.
You don't want to say anything bad about Brazilians.
because
just
Hellraisers
FYI.
are playing with a coach for those of you. So make sure if you are placing anything on those games,
Oh.
you know the factors behind it. Mouse Sports versus Forwards, Mac.
Oh, Mouse Sports. I'm a big Chris J fan, so I'm just
Mouse
going to go with
sports
that.
as well. You're going to get dinged if you keep that up.
He said too many words. Get through.
Chris J. Is he
Mouse.
anyway? Mouse. Okay. Yeah, it's pretty hard to go past Mouse, but I mean, Forwards have got some young.
Yes, thank you. One for the boys.
Can we not do this? All right. Greyhound versus Crazy, Mac.
Can you just ding him every time he tries to do a pun?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, thank
Oh
you.
yes, this is what this counter's finally being used for. A pun counter.
No. What match are we on?
Crazy
Crazy versus
your boys.
Greyhound.
I'm going to call a Greyhound upset because I'm a fanboy, but my heart says, my head says crazy.
You checking live odds in? I reckon that's probably
The way to
the
go.
best one.
No, I'm just giving him a look at the crazy lineup.
Okay.
Yeah, who?
No,
Greyhound.
Honestly, it's Intel backwards. Don't tell me it's Letney. But I have to go crazy because I think Greyhounds just will be blown away by a bit of the craziness.
Okay. Back in
Greyhounds. That's my.
Oh, yep.
Yep. 100% Greyhounds.
Totally with your heart.
No,
I'm just stirring.
No, legit Greyhounds.
I'm going with Greyhound on that one actually as well.
Yeah.
Repping the flag.
This is the team that they get to spend the most time prepping for too.
Yep.
You got to think about that.
North versus Ints. INTZ.
Ints, I'm going to call the upset because I don't rate North at all.
Okay, fair.
Just going to show Mac North's lineup as well.
Look, I'll have a look again, but I'll stick to it.
It's the guy that single-handedly kept Australis at bay. KB.
Nah.
He's
The
really
Shake God.
Yeah. I'm gonna go North.
Okay, and
Well, North will 0-3, so Ints.
Oh, yeah.
okay, yeah, you backed yourself into a corner there, haven't you? I'm going to go with North in that instance. Dream Eaters versus NRG. Last one.
NRG.
Energy.
Energy as well.
Wide World of Sports Energy.
Yeah, that is 100% the Wild World of Sports logo. Like,
If you don't know what that is, Google it right now. Go have a look.
Yeah.
Compare the pair.
Yeah, I think there's even like how to create the NRG logo in like 30 seconds or less.
Yeah. Focus
Just using,
right.
Yeah, focus right.
How to
It's got
become a
one.
meme overnight. That was pretty
Yeah.
good. That's pretty
It's
good.
like
Well-
it's stating
well played.
obvious, right?
Well played.
Well done.
No, when I look at North, I see the gatekeepers of the majors. Just like when I was playing, it was Dignitas. They were Danish. I think they're really good against the up-and-comers. So that's why. Sorry, mate.
I was gonna say, yeah. Any comments? Closing comments on the group stage of the challenger stage?
Who did G2 verse?
G2 are
Tyloo?
coming up against Tyloo.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, I feel sorry for Simon. That's my closing statement.
But what if he says?
He's not gonna.
Why do you feel sorry for them?
I think the G2 Tyloo one, just quietly, that's my big tip. I think Tyloo
You're
over G2.
such a gambler, aren't you?
I really do. I think that's the one you really want to look at.
Okay. Tyloo versus G2. I'm just going to quickly check.
For me, with Simon, I look at them and I go, man, they qualified through the CIS region. Like, that's pretty tough. You got to give them credit. So I think they're going to be somewhat good. I'm not going to write them off completely. I don't. But, you know.
At the end of the day, you can't really write many of these teams off to get to this point of the tournament.
Some of them are here just because they were here last time. I think you can write them off.
Okay, well, yeah.
I think you can write them off.
Tyloo, you
Point
got
fingers.
really good odds actually on Tyloo.
I know. That's
on Skrilla.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to back yourself on that one, Sean, you go right ahead.
Well, you can now.
You can. Exclamation mark Skrilla in chat if you want to check those out, guys. But look, I'm really looking forward to the challenger stage of the major. I think it might, as you said, it's going to be our last chance to see maybe some of these teams ever get on the world stage
Absolutely.
again. It's a really grueling circuit, and I think this might be the last chance for some of these teams to gain that sort of experience because it is tough out there to get yourself back into a major, and they're going to make it obviously the best of the best in terms of Counter-Strike. There's not going to be really any teams that limp into the major anymore. I'd love to see that be the case anyway moving forward. Teams not resting on their laurels from like 6 months ago. I think that's the ultimate goal, is to just try and reel the quality of the major back to where it should be and not necessarily have people placing the strength of field of, a Cologne.
I do like the idea
major.
of I do like the idea of the legends sticking around though. I think that's really good. Just thought I'd put that out there.
It's tough to just like brainstorm a few like alternatives on the spot as well. Like you could have the whole, just get rid of everyone requalifies again. But what does that achieve? Chaos.
Yeah, well, like I said, if you did that, then you're just rewarding the guys who are at the peak at the time. And then it becomes the TI all over again.
Yeah. And we all know who's.
But then again, the majors need to become a bit more relevant if they want that to happen.
So it is a balancing act, right? Like there is a balancing act between being the strongest competition at that point in time versus being like a prestigious tournament that has, that it means something to get to a certain stage of the major, and you've got something to look forward to in 6 months' time, and keep playing, keep sticking together, and keep pushing, because I think having that. We're just deviating here, but I think having that requalification and having that, you might have the strongest field at the time, but I think overall that actually hurts things because that doesn't lock teams in to a degree.
Yeah.
Like they have to, they're free to change
Mhm.
going into any other competitions. Like it is a much more open field. You're not going to have the strength of team.
Well,
that
let
they've
me
stuck together for,
ask you a question.
6 months, 18 months, whatever it might be.
What about the teams like Fnatic and NIP that took risks on lineup changes and now find themselves out of the major?
Yeah, well, I mean, NIP having to use a stand-in because they couldn't use their fifth for the major.
So
qualifier.
there's
It was just like, wow.
obviously there's no Fnatic and there's no NIP. Is this the first major that we've not seen?
Yeah, there's a heap of players that have failed to qualify for their first major.
Yeah, for the first time.
Yep.
Interesting.
So I think that's actually a really exciting prospect too. The changing of the guard
It is.
is always really
It's the
exciting.
changing of the guard, but at the same time, it's like those guys were good enough to stay there the whole time, but they still decided to change lineup.
Mm.
And unless you live long enough to become Virtus Pro,
See yourself become the entry frag.
yeah, exactly. It's like
You either entry frag or live long enough to see yourself become entry
you've got
fragged.
to. That's the risk they take by changing the lineup now, because you can be, and this is the thing as well, because I think Australian teams, exactly what I talked about last week, where you can be good enough to win enough to get the opportunities, and there's no drive to win and come number one, come first.
Mm.
And I think for some of those Legends teams, it's like we just need to come top 8 of the major. We'll be there again, and
Exactly.
we'll get invited to all the other tournaments because we're that.
Because it's a status thing, right?
It's like a stepping stone, though. It's like a mini goal. You can't just go, we're going to win this major every time. Like, you could, but
I think it's fair
You're
to
gonna be
say if you're in,
It's a very French approach.
yeah,
We're envious, and we've won one major, and now our motivation just goes.
we just need the sticker.
We just need croissant.
We get our
A
sticker
sticker.
money. We're good.
Do you guys?
do you guys go here much?
Are we
Yeah,
banned?
Do you guys
Yeah.
come here often? No. I'm just trying to remember. There's a player who's played every major to date. Do you guys know who that is?
Zeus? Would it be Zeus?
It's not Zeus.
Edward?
Do you know who it is?
I
Edward?
think I do. Yeah.
It's not Edward because he's not here.
Oh,
I'd be
course.
backing in someone like Fallen.
No. Every major from the original.
Every major from the original.
Crims? No.
Or Olaf.
Yes.
Olaf, yeah.
Olaf.
Olaf and Crims or just Olaf?
Just Olaf.
Are you sure? I felt like he missed a major.
Potentially,
illness.
the stat might even be that he's been a legend in every major.
Oh,
I'm just
because
trying
there
to
was
remember.
the ear injury. Was it ear or arm? Now I'm confusing myself.
No, I think it was just.
He was out for a long time.
I'm still.
He
in
definitely
Some,
missed a major in that.
no,
Yeah,
I don't think
actually-
he did. I'm
yeah,
still
I
in
think
some.
it was
I'm still in
health
some Banks
issues
content.
with,
So I remember,
family.
obviously, at the minor that this was one of the questions he put forward to the players. Who was the player who's been in every major?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it was Olaf.
Okay.
Just a little tidbit.
Yeah. Okay. That's one for the articulate box.
Mm.
Yeah, especially with no Forest and Get Right, the mainstays.
What's right? I heard Forrest was having a child. Like that just blew my
Sorry,
mind.
what?
Not himself. Like he's not pregnant.
What a crazy turn of events. You've
But-
got Forest having children
Get right.
and the
said it.
Amazon forest is burning down.
Oh,
that's the trade-off.
that's the seed
Yeah.
of evil right
Yeah.
there.
Fern Gully up in here.
Krista.
Obscure reference
Yeah.
that no one will get.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Oh, most people.
Robin Williams is batty.
I reckon anyone younger than me might not have seen Fern Gully. It was like 27.
I've still got it on VHS. I reckon.
I bet you do.
I don't have a VHS though anymore.
Yeah.
Don't even have a DVD player.
You just read the tape. It's like, get a light.
We've got these lights here.
Yeah.
Cool. Any closing thoughts on the Challenger stage, boys? Obviously, lots to look forward to. It starts 8 o'clock tomorrow night, Australian Eastern Standard Time as
Yep.
well. So it is a really rough one if you are Australian and want to start watching. It starts from 8 p.m.
On a Friday night when you're supposed to be out having a good time, not practicing
Watching the
Counter-Strike.
major.
Yeah, of course, watching the major. We can go out and watch it if we wanted to.
Yeah.
There's now bars that do that, so that's cool. Welcome to the 21st century.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to be watching him back?
Not going to name any names.
I might cast one or two, depending on how my throat's holding up. See if
Yeah.
I can get a good sleep tonight.
We're doing some pretty intense podcasting. I know that.
We're on the grind.
Well,
Yeah.
I think everyone needs to get ready for some serious upsets, as always when it comes to this sort of stage of the major.
Mhm.
There will be some upsets.
The only problem I have with the major format is that it's so slow. It takes so long.
It's a month. It's like the World Cup.
I like watching
Yeah.
them just bang out games like bang, bang, bang. And the upsets on the day seem to add up. Then they have a chance to add up, rather. So, yeah.
Well, I was going to say, it's a really grueling format, and it really places huge pressure on matches 2 and 3, right? In terms of onwards, basically, because you have weeks to prepare for that first match, and then
Everyone talks
it's
about
shotgun
that. Yeah,
after that.
everyone talks about that, but there's so much to say about the first match of a tournament. It's like,
Do you reckon the teams go through and try and like predict their deepest possible, right? Like
I'm sure
what
there's
timelines?
an artificial intelligence robot somewhere that China's paid for that tells Tyloo the exact draw that will happen through multiple simulations, and
You can
it's
theory
like
craft
draw
something.
all the
though.
alternate timelines in this situation.
Yeah. Because that's what we used to do. You'd look at the first team that you are going to verse, then you go, if we win, who do we verse? And then if we lose, who do we verse? And you just research those two teams. But it's because we only had to play 2 maps.
It's funny you mentioned Tyloo though. When you talk about getting any kind of extra edge possible, there's no doubt in my
Why
mind
is that funny,
they're-
Sean?
Oh, I mean, that's for
Elaborate.
that's for another broadcast.
No, we've got time.
Allegedly.
Well,
you need to throw an allegedly in here.
You
I
need to
feel.
throw an allegedly in there. Yeah, I mean,
I can see what's coming, dude.
He's getting too deep.
you can speak to Australian teams who have been overseas in tournaments that have Tyloo involved, where Tyloo definitely go for
Allegedly.
Tyloo definitely go for any kind of edge they can get,
Outside of the server?
and if that means
Outside of the server, Sean?
if that means having a manager pretend to be
A spy?
someone doing an article, or and then all of a sudden sitting in on your practice sessions and then recording everything, and then the next day
wow.
you find out they're a manager.
Inception.
You know, or hypothetically though, allegedly.
All allegedly.
hypothetically.
Man, it's the esports grind.
I mean,
you
it's
know,
not
people
like-
got to work multiple jobs.
Yeah.
I am not saying that while we were in Berlin and it was 2 a.m. that someone came to our door and tried to open it and then realized that me and our content creator was still in the room and then turned around and tried to walk away. I'm not saying that happened.
To leech your demos?
I'm not saying that happens. No, that's not what
No,
I'm
someone
saying.
didn't turn up and just do that.
No, of course not.
I've got
No.
a few shout outs here, boys.
Yeah, let's hit
obviously-
it. We're getting late in the...
That's it. Like, obviously, as we said, we're doing a few different formats, trying a few different things. This was a special edition of the Esports Social Club, bringing you Major Pains. And as we said, proudly powered by Skrilla. So check them out, Australians supporting Australians. A few follows in there, guys. So thank you for those. I won't shout them all out because there's actually heaps. But special shout out to the guys that did sub tonight as well.
Have we got some subs?
We've got some subs.
Nice.
So
I saw him
Scott
pop up,
Boomser.
but I didn't want to throw him in.
Boomser, he subbed, did he?
holy smokes. SIM card is sub for 41 months.
Ooh, okay.
No pressure.
Okay.
No pressure.
41 months.
Is that PK?
He was.
That
That's
is
a
a
PK
that's
emote.
a PK
We've
emote.
kept some from PG service. For those of you that are detectives among us, we've got obviously the old PG
Don't
TV
spoil
channel.
it. I wanted old mate to be like he was so ahead of the
There's
game
peanuts
that
next to
41
his name.
months ago he subscribed to this channel in preparation for this broadcast.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, thank you very much. Your support over the last 41 months is much appreciated. That's a long time.
I think thanks to everyone for their support in our inaugural 2 weeks.
That's
It's been
Yeah.
actually crazy.
Mm.
We
That's been
knew
really good.
Well, it's
when
been a week.
Yeah, well, this is our second week, but we knew when we were shit talking around the traps that we would be funny to listen to.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
we hope so.
We would be walking to the gym and we'd just be like, man, this would be a cracking podcast. We've wasted so much
we have-
good content in the house.
It's like already just left my head. Like
Yeah.
this content is just out there.
now
It's
I have to restrain to make sure I don't talk to you about things.
Well, people may not like. Obviously,
It's hard.
you, yourself, Jim, and me, we all live together. All right, not everyone would know that. So yeah, there's definitely
I
a lot
didn't
of
know that.
content. You didn't know that?
No. Can you stop letting me get doxxed?
There is a fourth person, but we don't. I don't. I think it's just a rumor that he.
It's the meerkat from the Meerkat Insurance adverts. Dimitri.
I haven't
don't
seen
know.
him leave the room.
Yeah,
if he's even in
That's
there.
an interesting
He's
comparison.
busy comparing.
He may or may
quotes.
not be here. We're not sure.
Yeah.
I haven't heard him yell in a while.
Compared to the meerkat.
Anyway, guys, we're going to wrap this one up. So thank you very much for your support. Good to see some familiar faces in chat as well. So I believe we're going to be pumping out some more content as well. So stay tuned to our socials. Your socials, Mac, they haven't changed. They're at Mac is Trash on Twitter, at Official Sniper on Twitter, at Still Barlin with 2 A's, 1 L, and a lot of oomph.
Where you going with this, Jim?
No,
yeah, a lot of
mate,
oomph.
let
Yeah,
me G you up, man.
just oomph it in.
just oomph it in, and yeah, a lot of vape.
Lot of
And myself, Deep Gym Pact on Twitter, guys, and of course the Esports Social Club on Twitter. It's ES Club Official. Sorry,
Forgets his own Twitter
Yes.
tag. Okay.
ESC Love
Okay.
Official,
It's accurate.
What about these guys?
and of course play Skrilla on Twitter as well. But so you guys can check out that link, as I said, ! Skrilla in the chat to find out more, and as we said, real live odds on some of the games coming up in the Starladder Major. Because I said we don't have a producer, I'm literally going to have to get
I was
up.
wondering how this
Well,
would go.
there's a fantasy league too, right?
There's a
Just
fantasy
for-
league,
yeah,
right? So
cool.
it's not all just betting. You can actually jump on in, choose your players, hedge your bets a little bit, and go, I actually think multiple teams are going to do well.
Yeah, and there's,
Or alternatively, they're going to do horribly, and I'm going to pick them for no reason. But
well,
you know,
there's
you can
there's
decide
cash
your fate.
prizes, right? Am I wrong
I
there
believe
for
there
the
is.
fantasy league? Yeah, cool. No, that's cool.
So not to
Check it
give
out.
not to spoil the ending of the show, Jim, but are we going to have guests on this thing for the nap? If we do a nap cast,
Yeah.
this is a special edition.
yeah.
But are we going to shout out to any Sydney siders that want to be a guest?
Oh, look, I think that's actually a really smart idea. I think even the big man himself, Top Gun, may be joining us for a future edition.
Oh,
yeah.
that's exciting.
Yeah, I think we're going to.
I want to throw the gauntlet out there to Moe. I want him on the next nap podcast.
Yeah, Maui on.
Yeah.
Well, we kind of,
okay.
I wouldn't say we
Get
put him on
PK.
blast. We put him on blast. Last time we did, you effectively said his career is over. I think those were the exact
Look,
words.
it's not
Ian.
gospel, but I just said that he's done because he's played with everyone. No one wants to play with him anymore.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So now I want him to come on the show and justify why I'm wrong.
Not even justify, just defend himself.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll give him
Having
the platform.
yeah, I want to give him
I'd
the
love
platform.
to have you on, Moe.
I
as
haven't.
well.
The thing is, no, Moe gets kicked from these teams. He's like, man, I'm so disappointed. I work harder than everyone else, and I still, we win nationals, and I'm still getting kicked. That's what he tweets. What's the real story? Like, what do you have to say about these guys? Because I would just be, look at me now. I'm just like, this guy sucks. This guy's the worst teammate. This
So
guy.
basically,
I
what you're
think-
saying is commentators and analysts have the last laugh because they just talk all day.
Come, here's a soapbox. Come say what you want to say and get it off your chest.
I was just going to say we should talk about that another time, like very shortly after this.
We should do.
Spoilers.
Definitely.
We should
Spoilers.
cast something
On a next
pod.
episode like that.
Anyway, guys, this is going to be the end of it. I'm going to wrap up. You're basically going to see me perform.
Do a
This
dance.
is this is no. This
Do a
is
little dance.
this is the production equivalent of like a nudie run in the sense that like you just streak it. You just go straight towards the thing and turn it off.
Or
Do
no.
you want to host anyone, guys? Actually, I think that might be the smartest way to go. Do we have any
Who's live?
Australian
Is
streamers
Top
that we
Gun live
can
at the
we can
moment?
host?
No, Top Gun's in chat. He's been here for a while.
God damn it!
What a legend.
If anyone wants to throw, there's NBA on Twitch.
I told you.
Yeah, I know
You
this
did
is
tell
sick,
me
man.
that. You
We
did actually.
Cast that together.
That's
If
really
anyone
cool.
wants to throw some suggestions for who we can host in the chat, that'd be awesome. Oh, I think
First in, best
Meerkat-
dressed.
make you
Is
sick.
Meerkat live?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's host the meerkat.
Anyway,
host the
we're
Meerkat.
going to throw it upstairs
Yep.
because this is our first chance to see him.
Oh, man.
Oh, he's
I was like, who's
Top
Meerkat?
Gun rated here.
he's freshly
Wow.
shaved.
The fact
too.
that
Yeah.
you don't
No,
pick
he's-
up on that, Mac.
He's the go-to.
Yeah.
I thought you guys watch so many streamers here. I thought it was just another one called Meerkat.
We don't even know he's live. He hasn't yelled. Like,
Yes, he has.
Has he yelled?
Yes.
strong enough to
Oh, I
come
didn't
through
hear
this.
Not through these.
No, okay.
That's right. That's why we have a noise gate. Yeah. Anyway, guys, we thank you very much for your support. We're going to host our roommate this year.
The meerkat.
The meerkat. He just comes in, pops out, scouts, grabs some food,
Yep.
and departs.
Just
Keep it in the family.
Anyway, he's going to love this.
How many do we have to send him?
Should we run up there?
We're like 4 times his viewership.
Okay.
Oh, he'll love it.
He deserves it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
It's all right.
we're going to go
He
knock on
grinds
his door,
hard.
guys. Thank you very much for your support. Stay tuned for more stuff on social. We're bringing you more content. Don't go anywhere because Panic Room is coming up now.
Nudie run.
Run.
I'm doing it.
Leg it.